Well, yes, they can hear us, so don't say anything stupid, Drew.
I'll control myself.
I'm usually the one who's got to control himself.
Let's read in here why Carvana is now a permanent player in auto retailing. I guess we should have bought some stocks when that shit took a dip.
That is a grift right there, man. That is debt upon debt upon debt that just is never going to pay off, dude. The only people making money are the day traders and, yeah, some investors that bought, on speculation, but everyone else.
So you don't think you still think Carvana's on the out?
Yeah, they don't have a long-term business play. I mean, are they going to start building service centers and servicing vehicles? Huge profit center for car dealers. Their grosses are, I think their grosses are so overly inflated.
Well, there is this thing called so much investment needs more investment.
When we get to AI, we're going to talk about that too, by the way.
Okay.
Billions upon billions being spent, and we can make cute cat videos that hold machine guns and walk down the street. Yay.
It says Carvana's today said it hit a benchmark of 4 million vehicles bought and sold since it launched in 2013. It's a lot of vehicles.
What is that as percentage of vehicles sold in the United States?
And since 2013,
yeah.
And you're talking about 11 years there, which is a long time to lose money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, something about we've been losing money for 11 years and still aren't on track to be profitable. Doesn't pass the say it out loud test.
No. And again, it goes back to, okay, have the banks actually, the bondholders or however they ended up selling the debt, but have those people made enough money back, even in their principal, that they're now making money and now they're just living off of the interest and the payments on the debt? If that's the case, then now we know who's getting rich.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think I know how this show's starting off, by the way. In 3 seconds. All right. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back, Drew.
Yeah, good to be back. Was this my third or fourth time?
Yeah, you should join us more often.
You should.
I should. Yeah, there's been a couple texts back and forth from me and Alex, and every once in a while it just doesn't work out for timing. But no, I love being on. I love talking to you guys. I love talking to any of the guests that come on as well. And I'm active as well on Facebook and LinkedIn when you guys do the videos, depending on where I'm logged into. So,
and the forums, which is most important.
And the forums, exactly. Yeah, definitely so.
Drew, you are a super OG, so we'll call you the Sug or the Sog.
Oh my God, are you using one of those Gen Alpha terms?
I don't know. Just making it up.
Seuss and bra and trying to talk to my kids nowadays, and it's like, oh my God, please just give me the dictionary so I can interpret all this stuff.
Exactly. I usually, when the kids are talking, I'm texting my wife, what does that mean? We're both in the same room, but I don't want to ask out loud.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, same here. Same. I do. The difference is they're texting me. My kids rarely call. They usually text or send a message. I'm having to look up, on Google what the word meant that they said. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good thing. That is cool.
What's the new acronym stand for?
Whatever happened to like Cool Beans and Hunky Dory
and I still use
Rad.
Rad. There you go, Rad.
Yep.
Totally awesome.
And then all our cut downs from when we were kids, they've all been deemed racist or
oh my God. Yeah.
Can't use these some of the words we used to say.
I mean, we can go off on that tangent if you want on this call, but I grew up in a small town in Southern California, and no one knew what color everybody was. That was the stupidest thing in the world, dude.
Oh, I was thinking more of the what we call it, the R word now. You talk about somebody being slow.
Oh. Yeah, we need to bring that word back.
Yeah, we used to call all our friends that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. That was like when you're busting balls with the guys and you call them, I'll say it, you call them retarded. It was like,
yeah, I was going to say,
funny.
Yeah. It seems like the word's making a comeback.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, we'll
what
see.
is what was old is now again new. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, 80s jeans are in fashion and all that good stuff.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. Well, we were talking about, as Jeff likes to call it, Carvana,
right? Carvana,
yep.
Carvana, tomato.
So yeah, what's our conclusion there? They've been losing money for 11 years, although Jeff was reading an article. What was the article I just said?
Just clicked
They
off.
They sold 4 million vehicles since their inception. And if you, I asked the question of if you related that or somehow mathematically said, okay, what percentage of total used vehicle sales by franchise and non-franchise car dealers, not private party sales, what percentage of that is in the United States? So a very, very small number, especially for the valuation that company has.
Well, that's the big one, right? The valuation is what keeps them afloat.
100%. And that goes back to the debt service, right? People are loaning them money based on the valuation. But it goes back to what's the plan to pay off the debt, short term or long term? How are they going to pay it down? How long is it going to take? When are they going to start, putting that money back where it should be? Back to the investors. And again, I don't know the structures of the bonds and the debt load and everything else, but the comment I made is that if they've been making their payments and they what did they do? They did a restructuring not too long ago. But if they've been making their payments, and even if they're equal to the principal of what they've taken from investors, now the investors are just making interest on the loans, and we know who's getting rich in that case.
Not me.
Not me either. But they really don't. They don't bring anything new to the table as far as for automotive retailing. And I've said it. I think the last time we talked, I've said it on the forums as well. It's the call center that drives. It's yes, we're 100% online. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's because you can only buy a car from Carvana online, right? So you're forcing the consumer down a path that they may not want to take. And then when they finally do call the call center is just there to, okay, Mr. Customer, clicky here and clicky there, and that's all they do. So it's not a true online model where the consumer organically purchases. Yes, there's probably a certain percentage of consumers that do that, but I doubt it's very high. I'd love to see those numbers. I'd love for them to prove me wrong.
Yeah. We were talking about that was it last week or week before? We were talking about digital retailing and how, are there any dealerships out there really doing something with it where the customer's going, soup to nuts all the way through?
Yeah, where the customer's buying.
I don't hear anything.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't.
No, I agree. I mean, we did a breakdown of, I have some dealers in the Bay Area, and we did a breakdown of the number of consumers that are truly buying online. Everything online, they come in, they pick up the car and they leave, right? They have to sign some paperwork because of wet signatures and all that kind of bullshit. But it was like 1 out of 100. So each dealership is selling one car online, and we're spending, $2,500 to $3,000 a month for that luxury of the process to be online. That's stupid. Consumers want, and Carvana does it great. Don't get me wrong, but Carvana does a great job of presenting the consumer with buying options, payments, which is what the consumer actually wants. How much is this going to cost me out of my monthly budget? And that's all the DOR tools are there for, is to do an excellent job of quoting a payment and making sure that consumer is not completely off base. If I had those tools back when I was selling cars, It's this stupid college kid that comes out of college at 24 years old that, wants to buy a $40,000 Jetta VR6. Now I'm aging myself, by the way. And and the math doesn't math out. And these people are with college degrees trying to tell me that, oh yeah, I can afford a $40,000 car. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work out like that. And luckily we are a Hyundai store, so a lot of those, consumers came in and wanted a VR6 Jetta. I flipped into a 4-cylinder Hyundai. It was $200 a month, all in, 60 months, perfect. Everything worked out great.
Good luck even finding a VR6 Jetta, even whenever they were coming out now.
I had one, dude. Oh my God, love that car. VR6, stick shift, green, beige interior. Oh, dude.
Oh, you went green, huh?
Yeah,
I
had a blue one.
I didn't have the VR6. I had the 1.8 liter turbo, the first rebrand of the Wolfsburg that came out.
You have the Wolfsburg?
My wife drove it. Yeah, that was actually
that was my wife's car too. It was blue with beige interior, beige leather. The Tiptronic transmission at the time. And, oh yeah, sweet.
Manual.
I had the manual. Yep, blue, the dark blue with the black interior.
Oh,
that was a great
car.
That
was sweet. Yeah, we couldn't do that in Southern California. We'd die. Too hot.
Yep. So anyway, we'll see where Carvana lands. And we've been saying that for 11 years now. So,
dude,
maybe they truly have landed.
Maybe they have truly landed. I still believe, going back to our conspiracy theory theme, I think they have naked pictures of somebody. And, that's how they keep getting money.
All right.
If I was a bank and they asked me for $1 billion, there's no way in a million years I'd give them $1 billion.
So, well, speaking of naked pictures of somebody, we'll say P. Diddy for later. But there's. How do they get the strike settled, or not settled, but postponed till January 15th, which I think is one of the first bullets we were going to cover there.
Oh, it was, yeah.
That just happened last night.
It did.
That did.
Yeah, after our email went out, right? Or after we drafted it.
Yeah.
So we had a local marketing meeting here in Phoenix about how the strike was going to affect us. It was at one of the hotels, and a few of the big dealers got together and said, okay, what's going to be our plan? Et cetera, et cetera. And then the announcement came and we were like, well, that was just a freaking waste. Yeah, well, we had a good lunch. It was at a casino, so I gambled a little. Won a jackpot day for me. But yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, that is... timing is just kind of suspicious, or sus. Is that what the kids use nowadays?
Sus.
Yes.
Sus.
Sus. Because they don't want to say the whole world, but timing suspicious. That seems like hey, we can't deal with this right now in the election, and we can't make it be a total win to make it look too obvious. So let's just postpone this till after the election, and whoever's in power is going to kind of inherit that to try to push one agenda over the other, and that goes back to, I think DeSantis was the most vocal. Obviously,
well, he was going to send the National and State Guard in.
Freaking God bless Governor DeSantis, man. Because that guy, dude, he is straight spoken, tells it like it is. He's a problem solver, and I think they blinked. Like, oh my God, this is.
You think that had something to do with it? I was reading.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading where a lot of people felt as if his pressure had a lot to do with it.
Jeff,
it was the election, and it was the election and the Dems, and it was the pressure from people like Governor DeSantis that pretty much said, "Whoa, bad timing. Someone made a mistake. Let's rethink this whole thing." And who passes up a 50% raise?
Well, he the way he phrased it was, "How can you have a strike after all these people are impacted with this hurricane, and
100%
people are dying out there, and you can't cut off supplies? That's just inhumane." So
not only are we not going to be able to get supplies to them, but they're not going to be able to wipe their ass because we can't have toilet paper in this country because it's manufactured overseas. So, yeah.
I heard it wasn't.
Yeah, I heard 90% of toilet paper comes from us.
I'll fact check myself on that, but I'll get back to you on that.
No, it's funny. We were talking about it during our engineering stand-up this morning. So we already did the fact checking for you.
Okay, nice. Okay, well,
yeah.
Okay.
So we build technology and check on toilet paper.
Score one for the fact checks. Drew was wrong. I'll give you that's my 1 out of 100 right there.
Were you out buying toilet paper over the weekend?
You know, it was kind of funny. So we have everything auto delivered. That's a staple in the house. So toilet paper from Amazon. You know, my energy drinks. You know, me and my wife like these things called dude wipes. If you big shout out,
Hey,
to
I
Dude
got dude
Wipes.
wipes.
Yeah, dude wipes. Yeah. So I got them as a gag gift like fucking 8 years ago.
These
for a
things
buddy
are
of
great.
mine. And we used them camping. My wife was like, "These things are so good, you have to continue ordering these." I'm like, "Okay, well, yeah." So now that's all we use. But yeah, anyway, so everything that we needed we had already had, and we usually do 2 months supply of anything because it's cheaper to buy in bulk. And luckily, our stuff came like 3 weeks ago. So I was like, we have paper plates, we have toilet paper, we have paper towels, big bag of beans, in case the food shortage. I have my my
Patriot
3 months
food.
worth of Patriot food. I don't know if it's actual Patriot food, but I have my 3 months supply. So if shit hits the fan, I'll be
got
okay.
it all too.
Exactly. My RV's loaded up. I can, hop in it and it's full of gas, and I can drive 500 miles if I need to figure shit out. So
yeah. Nice.
There you go.
Plan B.
So yeah, pretty certain there were some moves there that brought those strike negotiations back to the table fast.
Yep, there's a backdoor deal there somewhere, and hopefully someone will come out. Yeah, hopefully someone will come out and tell exactly what happened, and someone will look horrible as they awesomely should.
So yeah, it sounds like. So I'm just reading here. So they got a 62% raise. They were asking for 77%, but it's over the 6 years. So think about that. That's like 62%, 6 years. Think of it's a little more than 10% raise every year.
Hats off to inflation, man. There you go. Cheers.
Yeah. But there's still.
And these are guys that were already making like, what was
over
it, $80,000
to
$120,000. I mean, 80 on a newbie, all the way up to 120 plus overtime. I saw some reports that some of the guys were making 200,000. The freaking union boss makes like $800,000, $900,000. Yep. And lives in this, dude, I saw an aerial of his house, and I was like, I think I'm moving to New Jersey because those are freaking killer houses out there. So,
yeah, I saw the same thing.
Yep. Well, fortunately, we don't have to deal with that. And I guess in the future, the takeaway is if there's a port strike coming, dealers stock up on parts, especially especially your staple services, oil change, components,
brake pads,
wipers, all that kind of stuff,
belts and stuff like that. 100%, I agree with that.
Yep. And I was thinking, like, at the same time, this port closure, if it were to happen, probably would have been good for dealers.
Oh my God, with the day supply we have on some of them, exactly. Stellantis would have been like, woo woo, yeah. We're actually going to go from a 6-month supply maybe down to a 5 or 3 month supply. Well, somewhere in there. We want to land there.
Is it down to a 6-month supply?
Is it down? Well, yeah. Most of my dealers are sitting at 5 or 6 months. So, I mean, some dealers obviously might be higher than that, but yeah, that's just the floor plan expense is just insane. And yeah, it's turning down inventory, trying to Stellantis is pulling we're going to give you these, but you have to take some of these type in the you can tell there's definitely some backdoor deals there.
It's always the dirty trick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like when Ford said, "We'll give you these, but you have to take 10 of the EV trucks." I was like, "What? You guys are smoking crack, man."
Well, there's still some port issues out there. It looks like there's some pile-ups, and I don't know how true this is. I saw some photos this morning, but some pile-ups on the other side of the world where the ships are struggling to get through Suez Canal area to get up the Red Sea. So the Houthis are attacking ships. They're using little. Think of everything you saw with the Ethiopian or Somalian pirates in those little fishing skiffs. So they figured out a way to robotically control them, and they're just
No.
launching them like drones in the water.
Holy crap, dude. That's like, well, it sounds awesome, but it's not awesome. But
Yeah. Obviously packed with explosives. Yeah.
it'd be something I'd like to do on our lake out here, like just, send a boat out and just see it explode against a cliff or something. That'd be awesome.
Yep. Boys will be boys, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's why we live. That's why we don't live as long as women.
So
Is that why?
Why we don't live as long as women? Because it's too stupid.
No, I know.
I fell off my dirt bike a couple of months ago, and I was sitting in the camping chair. I ended up having to go to the ER just to get an X-ray. Everything was fine, but it was. I was looking back, and I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Reminds you of
my,
your
my wife's giving me the side eye, like, yeah, really, you probably shouldn't have. You're 50 years old, trying to be a cool little 18-year-old.
that's when you just look back and say, YOLO.
Yep, that's exactly what I said, dude. That was classic. That after drinking like 4 whiskeys so the pain would go away.
So,
well, speaking of the Middle East, are we going to go to Iran?
well, which country would you like to hit? Because it's like all of them.
So I am. My belief on the whole thing is we have a partner out there that's willing to fight, that just needs equipment and weapons and support, and we don't have to have boots on the ground. Give them all the support they need. Done. That's the end of the discussion. Shouldn't be anything else to talk about. And we're messing up that whole thing. So it's definitely the current administration's priorities are kind of mixed. And when you send those messages to world leaders that don't have the world's best interests in mind, everybody has their self-interest. We know that, right? That's we're going to take care of America. At least we're supposed to. How that's panning out the last few years, but yeah, everyone has their own self-interest, and we understand that. But when you think of us as a world economy, we're all humans. We all care about each other. Kumbaya. I care what happens to human life in even another part of the world, but these countries don't, and unfortunately, that's bad. And again, there's someone out there that does, and give them all the support they need. And on top of that, it goes back to the being self-sufficient in the United States. It's the whole, drill baby drill, frack baby frack. Part of the reason that we're willing to give money to Iran and we're willing to buy oil from them is because we need it, right? Well, no shit, Sherlock, we need it. And that's going to go into the whole EV discussion later. But it's it's drill baby drill, frack baby frack. Send money and weapons to our partners that are willing to keep peace in the Middle East.
So I heard an interesting theory. If wholesale war, whole-scale war, were to break out in the Middle East, and the oil supply was constrained, especially for the United States, then obviously the price of gas goes up, and then you go back to James Carville's famous statement of "It's the economy, stupid." So if there was a war and in the next 30 days gas prices were to shoot up, that would be a death blow for the current administration, I would think.
Oh, 100%. I mean, gas prices for the retail consumer. I mean, look, if gas prices are $3, $4, $5 a gallon, I'm going to go buy gas, right? Unfortunately, we live in a have and have not society right now because of the way it's been structured these last 3 or 4 years. It's not really going to affect me. I'll pay the $5-6 a gallon, no big deal. But it'll affect your middle class and your lower classes more than anything else. And then talk about inflationary pressures. Truckers driving across the United States delivering goods and services, airplanes flying in services, those big ships that cross the ocean that go into the ports. They don't run on solar. The inflationary pressures if gas does go up just because there's been a restriction on oil are going to be insanely immense.
Yep. So if we were to see gas prices hit $5 a gallon again, the last time we saw it, I was running a smart showroom, and I hate to admit that, but I was standing in when we were in between GMs and that franchise, and people were trading in their damn H2s, their Hummers, on little smart cars. It's like, what is wrong with you people? But we traded them. Some of the best months we ever had at that smart store.
You can afford. So I don't know what the people were thinking. And my second follow up to that is we're kind of seeing that now. You wonder why, car manufacturers, I mean, a lot of the domestics have gone to large SUVs and trucks on their gas line. Almost all of them have done away with the car lines, but you wonder why Hyundai and Kia are doing so well. Yeah, they have 30% gains on EV sales. Break it down, the majority of their inventory is being sold as either a gas or a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, PHEV, PHEV. But that. Yeah, so we're already seeing that now. People can't afford the larger, more expensive vehicles, except for the haves. But yeah, so it'll exacerbate that. I guarantee if you own a Hyundai or a Kia franchise, your gas goes back up, you're going to be swimming in dough.
Well, let's talk about those EVs for a minute, because I think that's the direction people will go, mostly, and this is my opinion, but mostly because of incentives making the EV so affordable right now.
Oh, you mean the government picking the winners on who's going to actually be buying what cars? And even then, I did the math. So we just got my wife traded in a Suburban. We're now empty nesters. Both my kids are in college.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah. 4 more years and I'm done. Yeah, or either that or get married, one or the other. But yeah, so we didn't need the 8-passenger Suburban anymore. I'll be honest, it was 8 years old. We had like 30,000 miles on it. We don't obviously drive that much. A lot of those trips were long distances, like between here and San Diego or here in Vegas. But anyway, so we went to go get a new car, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna seriously look at like a plug-in or some kind of hybrid. So we're not going to spend money on gas. And I did the math, and for me, a below average driver, it was a 120-month return for break even based on the increase in cost for the exact same vehicle with the exact same equipment and options. Right now, even take that in half. Right, it's going to take a consumer 60 months if they drive the average, because we were about half of what average consumers were driving. That's a 60-month break-even point. Are consumers willing to gamble that long term for their hard-earned dollars? I think that's part of the struggle. We have in the beginning we had people that were willing to buy EVs because they wanted to buy EVs and they wanted to save the economy or save the planet. And now we have the consumers that are willing to consider, and they have a little extra cash and they're willing to buy a hybrid. But for the most part, when it comes down to brass tacks, how much is it going to cost me on a monthly payment? Mm-hmm. And, even if you do the math on, you're going to be saving, $100 a month in gas, but you're going to be paying $125 more in your car payment. It doesn't make sense to a lot of consumers.
Well, unless you're going to buy a Hyundai Ioniq 5 or a Nissan Ariya, because they still have insane incentives on them, I believe.
Yes, I know they do.
The Hyundai just came out with like $14,000 off the.
Yeah, and they're a great product, right? They fit a niche. The consumers love them. I'm a point A to point B transportation guy, so I'm one of those guys. I really don't care what a car looks like or whatever, as long as it gets me around. But they're great product. It just doesn't make sense that we're subsidizing them on the back end with the government. We're subsidizing them for charging stations. We're subsidizing them and then it's. And we wonder why there's inflationary pressures. The government's just throwing money at a problem that probably is not really there.
Alex, did your insurance go up a little bit with the?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A
So
little bit. Tell me how much your insurance went up, buddy.
actually, and Jeff, the guy from Poly, is he said he's got something for you. So you should
Okay.
check your email. But
I will.
because Jeff's trying to get his insurance down too. But
Dude, what we pay for car insurance is obnoxious.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's 4 of us and 4 vehicles. And yes, we've got low deductible, high coverage, but it's close to, I mean, it's a clean record. It's almost $8,000 a year.
Oh yeah, you're in my boat, dude. Same thing. Ours is almost $8,000 a year. 2 teenagers, a 20-year-old and 18-year-old, clean driving records, okay
Yeah.
vehicles, paying $8
Yeah.
grand a year for car insurance.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
dude, that's just
so
insane.
Jeff, the guy at Poly, and you might want to look into this too. Now, True, he just switching from Allstate to Travelers. I'm Allstate as well, Jeff, and cut it in half for me.
Really?
Man,
Yep.
I'm with Allstate right now. There, okay. Mental
Yep.
note: call this Poly guy up. Send me his information.
Yep. Well, we can definitely do that.
It's not like, insurance is meant to be there for an like a catastrophic, like major car accident or something. Dude, my kid had a bumper scratch. It was $500 to repair it. I'm not going to put an insurance claim on that. We went and figured out the car dealership and had it repaired. But I haven't had an insurance claim in 30 years. I mean, come on, guys. Like, yeah,
No.
I don't know if your state allows it or not, but there are states that allow self-insurance. I've almost looked at it, but
Well, the reason why I was saying is because whenever we were working through the policy, and I took notice that my wife's vehicle was, much, because I had just bought the Nissan Frontier, so that's what had me looking and reviewing over everything, and I took notice that her 5-year-old Ford Hybrid was, I think, it had been $300 more a year. And when I asked, it's like, why? And because it's a hybrid. I'm like, where's the savings again?
cost more to repair. Cost
Yeah.
more to repair, which means
Yep.
it's going to cost you more on the insurance. The actuary tables, math is math. You can't lie about math.
Well, that's the other side to these EVs and anything with a battery in it. And you saw, I don't know if you saw, but one of the, I believe it was a sheriff, was holding a press conference after Helena hit and was saying, if you have an electric ATV, an electric lawnmower, an electric car, move those away from your house, because if salt water starts hitting these batteries, there's a good chance of them catching on fire. And those are
100%.
fires that they can't put out.
You need a special fire extinguisher, which, my buddy's been telling me for years now. He goes, get one in your house, because if the phone catches on fire, you can throw the thing in the pool and it's still gonna be on fire even though it's in the water. But it scares the crap out of me.
I didn't even think of the phone.
I know the reason I say that is I had a phone. No joke. Just yesterday, I put it. I had to send it out for repair, and this is stupid too. So to send the phone out for repair, it was $99. To go to an iFixit local to me was $186. Now, I always have an extra phone in the house in case one of us, our phones break or whatever. So I have an extra phone. So I'm like, I'll wait the week or so to, have it shipped back to me. Dude, the second they found out it was a bubbled battery, it was a battery that, bubbled. They said, you can't airship it. You have to send you a special container. This thing had like a metallic wrap that went around it, and you sealed it, and then you put it in bubble, and then you have to put this stuff in the box and then close the box. And there's a special red label on it, do not put on an airplane. And I'm like, holy crap, dude, that's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. So lithium batteries, big problems when it comes to.
You know what they call those? I saw this on Reddit. Called a spicy pillow.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that. So. But anyway, getting back to the EV discussion, you guys have seen the, where were the lofty, 2030, 2025, 2035 goals? Do you know one OEM that hasn't revised their goals or their initiatives in the next 5 or 10 years? They've all revised them. They say, hey, today's current economic situation, and EV sales are slowing. The consumer demand's not there. We're not going to be able to meet the all electric goals that we had by the dates that we had previously proposed.
Well, there's a butt ton of lithium in the Appalachian Mountains.
You want to go there?
No,
well, I do want to go there. No, that's the dude.
Okay.
Again, I'm okay with it. Why?
It's weird.
Well,
It's weird.
it's the not in my backyard mentality, and I get that. But dude, why are we buying this stuff from overseas? Why? Please, someone make it make sense.
Yeah, I haven't heard a good argument for that yet.
Yeah. So, naked pictures, man. I'm telling you, everything goes back to someone has naked pictures.
Well, if things in Hollywood and the music industry keep rolling the way they are, maybe enough of those holders of the naked pictures will be exposed.
Oh, dude. You wonder why Cubans supporting Kamala, dude. I'm telling you, he was either on Epstein's island or they have incriminating photos of him, and someone came to him and said, "You better back us, or we're gonna release these." So, yeah.
He does not like Donald, that's for sure. Donald
he did a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a few years ago.
That's what's so weird. Yeah,
Dude, that's the great thing. I grew up in no one's going to be able to find a video of me from 1999 or 2005. They may find a couple of photos, frat parties or whatever, but they're not going to ever, no videos, dude. But everything since the internet came that I know of, yeah, exactly. But everything in the last 20 years that anyone has ever said or done or videoed, it's all online. You no longer have to call up CBS and say, "Hey, send me a reel of that interview from 16 years ago." It's on YouTube. It's online. Find all that. So anybody trying to make a case of, "I didn't say that," and then go back, "Oh yeah, you said it." I mean, this video is going to be proof of it. Like, someone's going to come back to me later and say, "Drew, you said this, 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 and this, and you were wrong." Okay, I was wrong. No big deal.
And it happens so often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so often. Do you think that's a generation? Like, it seems like maybe it's people that are of a little bit older of generation. Maybe they haven't taken that into account. Whereas our generation, we sort of grew up with it.
Here's a little bit of background. So I swore to myself in high school that I would be a senator one day. So in high school and in early college, I never let myself be photographed or videoed, or so. It's kind of weird, but I don't have, that's the real reason that I don't have anything from there, is I was very careful about making sure that I didn't have anything out there, so it would never come
That's
back.
good news.
I saw it happen, right?
We were this close to having Senator Bukowski, huh?
But I think people today live in a very in the moment, right? They don't think that far ahead. Now, that was something that, normally a teenager or someone in the early 20s doesn't think about. Believe me, I was a little bit weird in the head back then. I still am for the most part. But I think people live so in the moment right now that they don't realize that what they're going to say or what they said years ago is going to be available and out there. So I think that hooks a lot of people, I remember when I was in Tiananmen Square during the revolution, and
but I was a really good teacher.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
So,
But back on that topic, like, I get called out, and I'm sure everyone listening is probably in some sort of management position and has been for a while. And how many times or even a parent, how many times has your kids or your employee come out and said, "Well, you said this right here in this text or in this email, and now you're not doing it," or whatever.
Oh, 100%.
So it's,
and you know how easy it is to find some of that stuff with the whole AI thing now? Like, hey, go find me this. Oh yeah, there you go. Scour through my 28,000 emails for something that I wrote about this topic, dude. Oh yeah.
Yep. Well, let's see. So hit on the EVs a bit, and we hit on the EVs a lot on Refresh Friday. It's just because We're still scratching our heads on whether that's really going to work. But Drew, I did want to ask you, and you just revealed to the world that you've always had political aspirations, but I don't know that everyone knows that you actually do some political work, mostly in educating politicians, right?
Yes. Internet for Growth. It's a coalition of small and medium business owners. A couple of years ago, I went out to Washington, met with the senators and the congressmen. We actually got a meeting with Speaker McCarthy's office right when he was coming to power. Right when he got the Speaker of the House. Didn't last that long, but whatever. But yeah, it's all the rules, all the regulations, the American Privacy Act. Yes, it's I am trying to be involved. I'm trying to push legislatures in the right way. Believe me, nothing's gotten done on Capitol Hill in 2 years, so I doubt anything's going to get done until after November, and even then, we'll see how the chips kind of fall. But
you were just out there too.
It's a couple years ago. So this last year's or this year's round, this year's round, I did not go, but I was there a couple years ago.
So I got two questions about politicians for you. One, how ignorant are they?
I just had this discussion with my son.
It's so you got to understand that a politician does not have enough time to verse themselves on all of the regulations, all the rules, the bills that are coming before them. So they rely a lot on their staffers, and it really goes back to who you surround yourself with is who's going to dictate your policy. So if you need to be very careful when you become a politician. Yeah, don't forget I'm on video right now. Thanks, Bill. Exactly why I'm kind of threading the needle here. You need to be very careful of who you surround yourself with, from your chief of staff all the way down to the lawyers. They're going to be writing the legislation for you. That they have your vision and your methodology, your belief system the same. And unfortunately, a lot of these politicians, it's Trump did it in his first term. He messed up. He didn't surround himself with allies.
Mm-hmm.
Same belief system. And not saying that you don't want to be the blinders on. You're not open to other ideas and others. But
well, there's one guy who only wants to have war. He's blind to everything else, it seems.
100%. So here, I'll give you here's a great example, right, of stuff that happens behind, and this is something small. So I had a congressman call me up. This is the time. The last 6 months, they're basically looking for money, right? And anybody can go look up who I donated to. Me, my wife, the whole yard. So I'm not worried about that. But he called me up, and we had a long conversation, and this goes back to the immigration and everything else. So obviously, I live in Arizona. I come from California, very immigration-heavy states. The problem I have with the whole deport, and I agree that none of those, whether the number is 10 million, 15 million, or 20 million in the last 5 or 6 years, right? All those people should be out of the country, And if they have kids, don't separate them from their kids. Send their kids back with them. I don't understand why nobody's saying that, right? We're going to separate the kids. What are you going to do? Because their kids are American citizens because they were born here. Great. They're American citizens. Their parents need to take care of them. Their parents can take care of them in their home country. Send them back with their parents. Problem I have is that I have probably a dozen friends that I speak with regularly that are dreamers. They came across the border when they were 2 or 3 years old. But now because of everything that's happened, is that they 4 of them currently own a home. They have a mortgage. They have kids here in the States. They've bought cars. They've established roots. They go to the local churches. For all intents and purposes, a couple of them even said, "Hey, I'm an American. I just don't have the piece of paper." Right? I believe in this American dream. I'm a hard worker, and
Mm-hmm.
yes. So
people that
Yeah. So those people, through no fault of their own, ended up in the United States, but made the situation the best for them. And they're Americans. I mean, in my eyes, if they could vote, and they're split down political lines. I mean, some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republican in name only. They're Republican in name because they can't register, obviously. Even though they're saying that people in Arizona tend to register if they're not, legal, whatever. Whole different conversation. But anyway, so I had this conversation with him, and he thought, the phone went silent for about 60 seconds. And he goes, look, and then he puts his politics on, and he goes, look, my wife's an immigrant, I'm an American citizen, she married. He goes, I don't want to deport everybody, but that's politics. I was like, that's like it's the public persona. Talk about backdoor deals. There's going to be something that happens on the back door. There has to be. And I've talked to enough politicians about the whole Dreamers thing that they agree, right? That people that have been here for 10, 15, 20, in one case, 36 years, we created that problem. We need to deal with it. But those are two separate issues. So, yeah. So I think I changed his mind. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you got to hear it plainly for it to
100%.
really register. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you still have aspirations?
So my wife was asked to. My wife's involved with our local school board. She's helping somebody get elected, but she was asked to run for school board. And the only advice I gave her is, even though it's a school board, it's some little piddly dunk. It's a no pay elected position locally. It gets dirty, right? Politics is dirty. So
Yep.
if you're willing to commit to that, and you're willing to have some things come out that maybe you don't want to come out, whether they're truth or lie, then I support you 100%. And in the end, she said no. She's doing it because she's been a stay-at-home mom. She has the free time. Our kids are away at college. The local school board doesn't affect us, other than for property taxes and a few of the other,
well, that's a big deal.
House values and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a big deal, exactly. So, so in the end, she said no.
They just rose our tax $3,000 for the year.
Yeah, $3,000 for
budget.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's insane. So, anyways, I don't know if I have aspirations just because of the whole dirty politics thing. A couple of people that are dropping out of the race. One of them, for Congress, she's not running anymore. She's dropping out because politics, and especially in DC right now, is a cutthroat. And I agree. Until you can have civil conversation and civil discourse and civil disagreements, right, and talk your way through the problem. Right now, it's all about, hey, line me this, line me that. This guy's evil. This guy, it's just, it's too bad. So it's not the politics of, the mid to late 90s, which is when, I had aspirations. When we had civil conversations, we all disagreed, but we still had dinner that night at the local steakhouse and went away as friends. So it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. It's sad.
It's sad.
Well, I think you answered my second question about politicians. Not directly, but roundabout. And my second question was, how easy is it to manipulate them?
Money. It's not that hard.
Yep.
It's they spend half their time
doing
their job. Yeah.
Photos.
They spend half their time doing legislation and doing the job that they were actually hired to do by the American people, and the other half is raising funds. Because unfortunately, the way the political system is right now is you have to have money to be able to make an impact. And here's a great point: is the local election here in Arizona, we had two people that are running for, or we had three that were running for Congress. In the state of Arizona, you do not have to be in the district that you are running for to represent. You don't have to live in the district that you're running for to represent, to be a House representative. So we had a guy from, East County, the Scottsdale area, that was running for a seat in the West Side, and West Side.
West Side AZ.
Yeah, West Side AZ. Yeah, now, I live on the West Side, and I'm a firm believer that local representation, right? The guy lives,
Yeah.
the guy that lives right down the street. He's currently sitting on the state legislature. He would have been perfect, and nope, some guy comes in with more money from the East Side, and, runs attack ads, and it was horrible. So,
Ugh, sounds dirty.
it was dirt.
Well, let's change the topic here. So, is it a good thing that Ancira is no longer in the car business?
I have friends at Ancira. One of my employees is actually from Ancira. During the last round of layoffs, I found out she got laid off. I needed somebody, so I hired her. So I had heard rumors about a week ago before the whole thing happened. I was like, yeah, right. That doesn't make any sense. But and then another person, texted me and said, hey, have you heard the rumor? And I'm like, dude, these people don't even know each other. And they're texting me the same thing. I go, there's some teeth here. And so, yeah, so I was just waiting for the official announcement. But no, a little bit of other background is, so you guys know Ali and Amir, right? From DealerOn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Well,
former
Jeff's
VT
right
guys.
down the street from DealerOn, basically.
Oh my God. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
Anyway, so they were both VT guys. They worked at Van Tile, now Berkshire Hathaway Automotive. For those of you that the youngins in the group that don't know who Van Tile is, they were VT guys. So I had heard about them. We were actually, don't quote me on this. This is in video, but they actually came out, and I think we were site number 5 that they launched at one of our stores here in the Phoenix Valley. I think they have a great product. I think they have a good support model, but that is where they were lacking. I think was their support, and I think the combining of the two, as long as they don't do the normal merger and acquisition, hey, buy this property and then cut staff. I think if they keep a majority of the support, the dealer facing Ancira people in support, I think they'll do good.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I got to go to NADA with the Sincro folks.
That's
2
right.
years
Yeah, a
ago?
couple years ago. Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
Well, yeah, no kidding. We
that's right.
spent a lot of time together.
Drinks at the hotel, man.
That's right. And I was surprised how knowledgeable their people were. I mean, I had come with such a strong dislike of Cobalt from my dealer days. And then, of course, my dealer.com days was like, the rally call dealer.com was kill Cobalt. So all you had to do is say, hey, man, I'm shopping you and Cobalt. And it's like, oh, free website for you. You're not going to lose to Cobalt. So, yeah, I had a pretty strong bias, and I was surprised how good the people were.
And I think that's the key there is that, yeah, to be honest, all the website companies they're the same, dude. Come on, can a website look that much different from dealer A to dealer B to dealer C? Besides the hero images and a whole bunch of bullshit stuff
That no customer looks at.
That no customer looks at, exactly. But the OEMs love. Like, we have to have our heroes up by the first of the month. But dealer websites all tend to work the same. They all tend to function the same. The only crappy dealer website is the dealer that throws up 50 different plugins on their website. That's the crappy website, if you ask me. But anyways, it's
the chat you can never close.
Oh my God, the chat, yeah. Oh yeah. I don't want to name names, but horrible. But it goes back to it's the people that make the product, the website. It's the reason that a lot of my dealers have stayed with one vendor over another is we've developed those relationships. We have, high respect for each other. We know what, I know what the dealer wants. The dealer knows what the vendor has to do. And, it's worked for, in some cases, I have one rep that's been with me for like 8 years at a website provider. And that's unheard of.
Yeah.
So it's the support and service, stupid. That's all it is. So as long as DealerOn understands that, as long as DealerOn understands that, they'll do fine. Don't fire anybody, unless they're obviously egregious in what they're doing.
Have you spoken to Amir or Ali lately?
I texted them both. Obviously, one of them is retired,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Hey, let's set up a call in a couple of weeks." And to be transparent, I'm a Syncro partner, so and Sierra partner, so it affects me financially. So see what happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's how you and I think first time we met face to face was out at Google, and DealerOn had sort of helped put the event on.
Oh my God, was that the Grant Cardone DealerOn? Was Grant there as well? Didn't Grant
Yeah,
do
I
this
think so.
before he became big and big and big like the way he is now?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, no, I remember that. That
yeah,
was a good 3 days. That was fun.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
Speaking of Grant, does he do anything in the car business anymore?
Oh my God, I have no idea, but now that we've said his
I don't
name and
think
my
so.
phone is now my phone is listening to me, I'm gonna fucking get Grant Cardone articles like left and right now.
Oh God, please no. No.
Hey, the best way to invest is to go and buy $100,000 fourplex and then, sock away the $2,000 a month in income. Yeah, like you go find me a fourplex for $100,000 in today's market that I can actually rent out for $500 a unit to make $2,000. Like if you
Nice.
find me 10 of those, I'll buy them right now. I'll follow your advice, but I mean, I think he is, I used to follow him. I thought he was a great guy, and I think he's just become disconnected from reality in some cases. So.
I had dinner with him once, and we got in a big argument over something.
He's strong-willed. He's a great speaker. He's a great motivator. Oh my God, the guy can motivate a team like no other.
He's very good at that.
Yeah, he's pushing international home buying now.
Oh,
so
you can only find so many suckers in one area, so time to move on to the next.
Yep. Well, how about a little AI? I know we're getting down to the end of our time here, but we got to squeeze that in somehow.
Well, we do. That's at least going to make another 10 minutes, right? So, yeah.
So I'll take the stance here. I'm becoming quite the fan of it. It's entered into my daily life significantly as a research component. I'm a huge fan of Perplexity. And we have brought it into our product lineup at Frickin' Tech, and it is beating the shit out of humans in a lot of stores. Not all places where you've got a really strong internet manager or somebody who's really good at working leads, but most dealers aren't. So this is doing a much better job than the average dealer.
Oh, so you're telling me it's all about the people in the process. If you have the people in the process, you don't need some cool technology to take over for you.
Well,
did I summarize that well?
Actually, if I were back in the store and back in Checkered Flag specifically, where I had 9 good people who were working for me and were answering leads and answering phones, if AI were around, I would take that down to 3 people. And I would take the mundane stuff that they hated doing, the initial lead response. Like, is there really a person there who's going to talk to me after I send them an email or call their phone or whatever? Let AI do that crap. And then once AI or some technology or something is figured out, okay, there's a real somebody here and they got a question here and you can work them now. Now I want my best people on that customer. That's how I'd set it up.
It's a filter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Making things more efficient.
No, I agree with that statement. Making things more efficient. What are you going to do with the 4 people that you fired? Or I'm sorry, that you took off internet sales? I'm assuming you fired them, but.
Well, they can sell cars. What do you want me to say, Drew?
Well, I go because everyone is pitching like, "Hey, it's not going to disrupt the job market because we're just going to take the people and move them around in the organ." Bullshit, dude.
Well, they can learn to code.
If I'm a dealership, if they can learn to code. If I'm a dealership owner, I am looking for ways to save money. My biggest expense is employees. My biggest liability is employees. And if I can find AI to take over that, yeah, I'm going to let the AI do it for me for a lot less and a lot less liability. So,
Well,
that
and
being said,
speed and
go ahead.
consistency is another one.
100%. But again, a high performing, well structured, people in process dealer. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that they need the AI, right? Yeah.
How many of those exist?
I would say most of my dealers that I work for. I mean, we can talk about numbers. We can talk about turn. We can talk about days supply, minus the Stellantis stores, because that's a whole other problem. Yeah, they're low day supply, high used car turn. I have a couple of stores turning at 2 to 2.5 times. I have one that's probably pushing 3. It's a machine, dude. So it's good grosses. So it's yeah. I think there's a lot more out there than you think.
There are,
Because
for sure.
all we do is, right, and Jeff, you're actually in a dealership, but all we do is on this side of it is we find a hole in the dealer's process and try to fill it with our solution, right? And some of my dealers don't have a lot of holes in the process. There may be onesie twosies here and there, but not enough that's worth $2,500, $3,000 a month in expense.
So, I mean, I've been a vendor since 2010 now, so 14 years.
Oh, wow.
And what typically happens is you've got a great person in the dealership who can handle things and set up a great process and make things run efficiently. And then they leave or get promoted. And the person who comes in behind them is a shade of what they were. Or they don't replace them at all.
Yeah, good point.
That happens way too often.
I can agree with that. That's the long-term process of owning and running a car dealership, kind of filtering through that. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So back to the AI.
Yeah.
Can the AI do it? The problem that I think AI has, and I think I sent Alex the article. Jeff, if I didn't send it to you, I can forward it to you. But if you just go online and look for a guy named Ed Zitron, he has an article called the Subprime AI Crisis, or the AI crisis of subprime, or something like that, right? Subprime AI crisis. And he points out a couple of key things in there that I think it goes back to the amount of money that we're investing and spending on product that really isn't coming and producing any results past a few niche areas of the economy. I mean, the stat is right now, I think for every $3 we spend on AI, we're only getting a company, a retail company selling AI. I think this is open AI stats, by the way. For every $3 they spend, they're only making $1 in revenue. Going back to that long term, like who's going to pay for this? And right now, a lot of it is being subsidized by Silicon Valley money and speculation, and but that's not sustainable long term. Sooner or later, it has to solve a business problem and it has to make money, right? Mm-hmm. Where's the break-even point? And if that break-even point is 10, 12, 15 years from now, sooner or later, investors are going to start throwing up their arms and saying, hey, no more. We're done. We just gave you $6 billion last year. Now you're asking for another 6 plus another 3 to continue operations. No, we can't do it. We're not getting any return. We can't wait 10, 12, 15 years, especially at the valuations. I can't pull these from memory right now, but if you look at the valuations of some of these AI companies, it's hugely speculative, right? How are they ever going to pay that back? They're not.
I've got him pulled up on Twitter. Is it OpenAI is a bad business? Is that the article?
The one that I tend to talk about is the subprime AI crisis. It breaks down costs and Microsoft charging $30 per seat for their their AI product that bolts onto their workspace product, but that product actually costs them, I think, like mid 40s. So they're actually losing money, and they can't get enough businesses to sign up. So imagine you have O365 in your organization right now, and you're paying $25 a seat, right? And you have 1,000 people in your organization. To add AI, it doubles your cost. And is the doubling of the cost really going to create enough efficiencies that makes it worth it?
Gotcha.
Not for what they're offering right now. It's like it's kind of like a personal assistant, but not that great at it. You kind of have to go work at it a bit. But where I see it getting pretty strong is when it can piece together. Well, let me say I think there's two real AIs that have hit the commercial market. You got the kind that makes summations of information. So they'll pull in lots of different things, different web pages, different whatever, and they'll make a summary statement about what you're looking at. ChatGPT does that. That's a big use for it. Perplexity, that's absolutely what it does. And then there's a language modifier one that isn't as used by consumers directly, but it's utilized by tech companies as a language modifier to if-then statements. So think of a chat tool that you might have on your website that utilizes ChatGPT. It's using if-then statements. It's hunting for specific keywords, and then it's going to make this response, and then it's going to make a modification of the language of the response, so it more fits with the tone that the customer is using or whatever it might be. And when
it's reflective. It's reflective of the consumer. Okay.
Yep. When those two come together and can take action with databases is when this thing is going to get insanely powerful. So if you think about the chat service on your website, it's not going to talk about a car payment to a customer. It's not going to talk about here's another suggested vehicle without like 5 million questions to get there. But when it can say, hey, look, I see you're looking at a Mercedes E-Class. It's a 2022. Did you know that there's a $2,000 incentive on the new one right now and a 1.9% APR? It actually gets the payments within $60 of the one you're looking at currently. When it can do that and start to share that kind of information with the customer, now it's going to be insanely powerful.
And I think that's my problem, is that we all come up with these great what if, but no one's been able to execute on that yet.
It's
until
close.
we're able to that's what I've heard that now for years. It's close. We're almost there. We can get it. No, that's So
well, and Iran's going to have nuclear weapons in 2 weeks.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So, and the polar ice caps were supposed to melt 10 years ago or something, according to Core. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the what if.
Though, Drew, I think that the database combinations there is a tech out there that can do it. It's in the car business now, but I just don't think they can figure out the business model.
Okay.
They got the tech figured out, but the business model
costs a lot of money to query that AI every time you query it. So I get it. Yeah. I think a little bit as we're creating solutions for problems that probably have an easier solution, and the whole what if gets me. And I'll close with two examples of that. The first example is the service AI. Can you see me?
Yeah. I actually
my video's working on my
over here.
Oh, there we go. Hey man, make me bigger. I should be the same size as you. This isn't like shrink through down. There we go.
Who knew if you roll your mouse and scroll over somebody's picture? That's a new feature I didn't know about.
There we go. Okay, so two examples of this. So who's seen the service AIs? Hey, customers are calling in, service advisors are overwhelmed. How about letting AI make the service appointments for them, right? And I might have posted this on the forum. I know I've talked to a few people about it. Alex, I maybe even mentioned it to you, but $2,500 a month is a going rate for one of those service AIs. And all they do is they plug into your OSS tool and, they pull up, they give the consumer options, et cetera, et cetera. I had a dealership call me and say, Drew, I can't afford $2,500. I go, my service advisors are completely overwhelmed. with phone calls to make service appointments. I hire somebody, it's going to cost me at least $4,000. I go with AI, it's going to cost me $2,500. He goes, give me some options, give me some solutions. I go, oh, simplest one, you have a service appointment online, an OSS tool on your website. Why aren't consumers using it? They probably don't know about it, right? So we changed their AVR, or IVR, I'm sorry. It costs us about $15 to go to Fiverr and have somebody record a nice new IVR for them. So we're into this for $15. All the IVR does is when they press 1, it puts them into a forced, I think we decided on 45 seconds at this store, where it plays music and plays music and plays music and says, hey, did you know you can book your service appointment at xyznissan.com? Plays music and plays music and play. Hey, did you know you can book your service appointment at xyznissan.com? But, you get the point. It just loops that over and over and over again. And the key is finding how long you're willing to not really piss off the customer and make the phone call inconvenient for them, that they're going to take their phone and go to xyzservice.com and make their service appointment, right? Abandon rate on the IVRs, phenomenal. Like 80, 90% of the phone calls ended up dropping. Service appointments booked online, take a wild guess the percentage of increase in service appointments booked online.
I'm curious.
300%. They tripled the amount. All it was a consumer education issue. And I think most consumers would like to book the service appointment online rather than call the store. Now, your grandma that's 78 years old that's booking service for her Buick, she's going to probably stay on hold for 45 seconds and talk to somebody. But I think your majority of the consumers, stupid made up number, but I think 80, even 90% of them, if you give them that option and you make them aware of it, they're going to book it online. I just saved that dealership $2,500.
So here's one you can use with your dealers if you're ever trying to sell that one, Drew. My wife, I will give her a task to take care of something, like, hey, hon, can you call and schedule this thing for the house or whatever it is? She can't stand getting on the phone. She will spend 3 days looking for something online instead of 3 minutes just picking up the phone. And so right now we need to get her car undercoated, being up here in the Rust area. And, and so the shop that does it best here their online scheduler is the worst. It's a Ford store up here. So you have to call them. I'm trying to think. Let's see. It's October now. I think I asked her to do this in April.
Oh my God.
So now I'm going to have to do it. So.
Yep. Yeah. Your wife should meet my wife. She's the same way. She hates calling. She hates, oh my God, the phone. And she actually, for her service on her car, she has me do it. And all I do is I text the service manager saying, hey, my wife's going to be down tomorrow too. He's like, is she going to wait or do I need to give her a ride home? I'm like, she can wait as long as it's going to be less than an hour. So, but yeah. My last other closing thing is that, I did a quick ask. We're trying to, one of the CRMs, actually a couple of them now have the AI add-in that you can add to the CRM, right? Most consumers' questions that are coming in now, if we've given the consumer, and our websites are built correctly, we've given the consumer a DOR tool that allows them to calculate payment. We've given them 48 to 96 color photos. We've given them, and for the most part, the consumer believes what they see online, so they know that the car is available and in our inventory and ready for sale. Minus your your C8 Corvettes and some of those cars that tend to sell really quick. Those, thing is, minus all that, if we do everything correctly, we've given the consumer enough information that what really is the question that they're going to ask us? What do most consumers ask? Even Jeff, because you're actually in a store. What do most consumers ask?
They ask two questions.
What's
my price and how soon can I get it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is it available and what's the price?
Oh, you're asking a trick question.
Yeah. But my point is they're asking that question, and how is AI going to answer that differently, efficiently than a salesperson would? And would you really want AI, or would you want the consumer engaging with the salesperson and having the questions?
The salespeople don't answer those questions for the customer most of the time. So it's actually gonna get answered. That's the thing. It's
Okay.
just like, yeah. I know that
I
your
get it.
stores are much more buttoned up, but
Yeah.
there's, believe me when I say, it's that.
It's not happening
Yeah,
that way. Okay. Oh, wow.
yeah, you're lucky to get your lead answered at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there.
Okay. I can't think of one of my stores that's over a 15-minute response time. Most of them are less than 5 minutes. So, and they're
Yeah,
for the most part they're good quality responses. So,
you'll get about
So I am lucky.
Dealers are
22
doing so well.
autoresponders and not one from a human.
Really?
Yeah.
It amazes me in today's world. The younger generation of salespeople haven't found out that it's about consumer engagement. It's about the people, stupid. Creating a relationship. Man, we just talked about that with websites. Same thing with car sales. People
struggle
buy
with
from
that.
people. Yeah, people buy from people, not from stupid technology.
Well, we did have a few years there where everything got set backwards, so it's worse now than it has been in a long time. Yeah, and Bill's right. They all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, those autoresponders get fancier and fancier.
They do, but in the end, even the chat products like on the website that claim to be AI, in the end, what are they asking for? They're asking for what? Hey, give me your name, email, and phone number, and I'll have somebody get back in touch with you. We've given the consumer an avenue. Exactly. We've given the consumer an avenue to contact us. They think they're contacting us and have their questions answered. And then we tell them, whoa, stop. No, this is not the correct way, Mr. Consumer. We're going to call you back later. We're going to email you that information. Like, how stupid can you be? I hate chat on dealers' websites unless it's manned by salespeople for that exact reason. If it's manned by people in the dealership, chat's worth it. If it's not, don't do chat. Not worth it. You're pissing off people or anything else. And you're losing the consumer. They've moved on in that 15 minutes, that 20 minutes. They've gone to another website. They might have even picked up the phone and called somebody. But yeah, so not the way to go. So.
I always felt as if you had the right chat process at the dealership, that it would equate to more walk-ins.
Oh,
and whenever I say the right process, that means answering the questions, being friendly, not quickly going after their personal information. If you make that a great experience, now you've set the tone for whenever they come into the dealership, and they're more likely
100%,
to.
100%, 110% actually. But yeah. Anyways, to close out the AI conversation, look up Ed Zitron. I think he has some great insight on the back side of the AI with the costs and you know, it all comes down to dollars and cents, man. Are we going to make money, and is it going to create efficiencies? It's maybe creating efficiencies right now, but it's not making money. Everything that you're querying for your AI product sooner or later might close down. Queries aren't going to be available. You're building something based on another platform that you don't control. Just takes an overnight CEO, CTO, and a few other people leaving your organization for for things to go into turmoil.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you never want to get too complacent on a CDK or any kind of other technology.
100%.
Yep. All right. Well, Drew, this has been fun as usual.
Yeah, it's been fun. Good conversation.
Good
Hope
stuff.
your audience enjoyed. Everyone call me if you have any questions. I love talking on the phone, chatting with people. My number's on the forums. Look at my signature. Open to talking to anybody. You know, my phone is screened. So you better come up with a good elevator pitch in 10 seconds for me to actually think about.
Just press 1 to talk, right?
No, it actually is. You know, it's kind of funny that I use the Google AI to screen my phone because at last count, I was getting like 250 calls a day. It was stupid. And I was like, so if you're not in my contacts, you literally get screened. And So. But yeah, you can call the business line too. And it's actually press 7 to speak to Drew or press 1 just to talk to somebody and have it solve your problem. Because that's what we do all day long is solve problems. And we make it easy. Just press 1.
Press 1.
Nice.
Slogan.
Well, everybody, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Make it a great weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy. Talk to you later.